Hello, and thank you for joining me. You're here with Data Science Teacher Brandyn, and we're going to go over the pie plot in Pandas. So a pie plot is not something you have access to in Seaborn, and we need to use Pandas for it. And good thing plotting in Pandas is really quick and easy. Okay, so to get started, I find Pandas plot it's very handy, it's very easy to use. It's not as beautiful as Seaborn. So I usually change the palette that we're using, the style that we're using, and I do this with plt.style.use, and I change this to solarized light to kind of makes it give a little bit interesting pattern. I think just something different to kind of set up and stuff. I find the pandas plot by itself, I don't love it, let's say. Uh, so that's what we're going to do here. So I just changed the color palette, and you can see it looks a little bit different than our standard plot. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 6 different values, 6 different columns. I'm going to get the mean of those columns. This is going to be just one value at the end of the day. And I'm going to do a pie plot for that. So it's really going to give us the average of each one of these columns. You can tell there's a different scale, and really, I don't know if all of these ones went together because there's so many different ones. But what we can do is we can take it a step further and go dfcut.value count. So getting the count of each category, and then we're going to do it a plot. So this data set is the diamonds data set from Seaborn, and so we have the different levels here. We can see different plotting. So it's starting to get better. It's a little bit more valuable in this sense. I think though, really, it's hard to say exactly what percentage this fair makes, and that's one of the problems with pair plot and why people say that they're not the best. I think when you look at like just like this, it is kind of a little bit harder. If they were closer in proportion, you kind of find it hard to tell how big one is versus the other one. Even this green and this blue color here, I can tell that this one's bigger. How much bigger? I'm not really sure. So what we can do is we can do auto percent, and then this is the code. So you do percentage sign dot two, which is 2 decimal places, and then we're formatting this as a percentage sign, right? So here you can see now we can really tell that it's 25% versus 22%. Well, I actually would not have guessed it was that much of a difference, right? And that's one of the problems with pie plots is it's tricky to know the exact proportions. You can tell if something's bigger or smaller, but exactly how much bigger or smaller is difficult to tell in a pair plot, or sorry, in a pie plot. Okay, so doing that, I think it also needs a title though, truthfully. So, this looks a little bit small to me. You can see here the 2.98. It's a little bit squishy here. So let's make this plot a little bit bigger using matplotlib. So matplotlib.pyplot is plt. So plt.figure, we're going to change the fig size to be 5 or 6 is a width and 5 is a height. Okay, we're going to do the value counts with the percentage signs and go plt.title to change the title at the end. And what I'm doing here, just to note, is I'm going backslash n, and then to finish it off, and this just puts an indentation and enter space above, and so it gives a little bit of space at the top of the plot, because if you find sometimes it's just really squished up there, and I just find that looks a little bit ugly, truthfully. Starting to get better though, everything's fitting in there a little bit better. Okay, so we can also do something really cool with the pie plot, which is the explode function. So once we have our value counts, we'll do explode, and we can do it right here. So what it's going to do is going to biggest one, and then goes down to the smallest one. So the first one, so there's 5 values in here, and this is we're going to give it a 0.05, kind of spacing away from the center. On this little one, we're going to give it a 0.3, so you can see it's kind of sticking out. And this would be a really good way if you wanted to highlight certain subsections for a presentation or something. And this gives it kind of a cool effect as well. Something that you cannot do in Excel, truthfully. So it's quite nice. So you're doing the same thing. We're going to take it up a little step here and be a little bit higher level in terms of the formatting. So what we're going to do the same things that we did up above, but you can see here this looks a little bit nicer. I added a black line around this. So the way that I did that is after I make the plot, I assign it to AX, and this is going to be our axis object. Then if I go for W in AX.patches, patches is going to be a list of all of the bars in a bar plot, wedges in a pie plot, little sections, little pieces of pizza in your pie plot, or lines in your line graph or whatever. This is going to be the things in your plot. Okay, so I'm going to iterate through this. And so it's going to be the first one, the second, triangle, go through all of those. I'm going to set the line width to be a little bit thicker, and I'm going to set the edge color to be black, okay? And then what I'm going to do is AX set underscore label, and I'm going to turn off this little count thing at the side. So this count at the side, because we're giving it a value count, so it's just saying it's a count, that's nice. I don't think that's really valuable to see right there, so I'm just going to set Y label, and then passing it the argument none, so there's none right here on the side. You can see we get a much nicer pie plot at the end after we go through a little bit of extra pre-processing or formatting to get to this point. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.